So this video is for beginners. Lately, I've been making a lot of beginners video. So today, I want to show beginners how to show beginners how they can, identify some terminologies that they hear. Okay, in taking body measurements, you hear across back, you hear across front, okay, and here shoulder measurement. Where do we really need to measure as a shoulder? Where is the across back? Okay, where is the across front? Bust span, nipple to nipple, bust point, under bust, the waist. There's a lot of confusion when it comes to the waist. Where is the natural waist? Where is the upper waist, the lower waist, the hip point? How do I know what I am measuring? So this is what I have come to tackle today. If you are online, just give me a hi. So I just wait for at least one person to come online, and then we can, one or two persons. Okay, I see one person there. Dorcas, good morning. How are you doing? Okay, so before you join in, I was just talking about measurements. Okay, some persons don't know what we call across back, across chest, or where to take, the shoulder measurement, how to take the shoulder measurement, the bust span, the nipple to nipple, and so on and so on. Okay, first of all, bust span and nipple to nipple, they are the same. They're just different terminologies that are used depending on where you are. So today, without talking too much, I'm just going to show you, okay, some basic measurements that you need to know. If you are a beginner, then don't miss this. Even if you are not a beginner, I'm sure there is something new that you are going to be learning today. So let's get right in. Hi, Dorcas. Thank you for joining in. So the first I'm going to show you today, I'm going to be using Akosua here, okay, is the shoulder measurement. How do we measure the shoulder? From where do we start and where do we stop? Sorry, Akosua, I have to take your hair away. Now, in measuring the shoulder, don't measure like this. You will not get the correct shoulder. Instead, take it to the neck of the neck and bring it down. And make sure that you are starting from, just feel the joining on your client's shoulder. That is where it should start from. And then you take your tape up here like this. You can use your hand to support it and you bring it down to the next joining here. So for Akosua, her shoulder measurement is 14. Now, the next measurement is across back. Where is our across back? Okay, some persons mistake the shoulder measurement for the across back because both of them are at the back. Now, this first one that I made mention of, this is the shoulder measurement that starts from the joining at the shoulder here towards the neck and back to the other joining on the shoulder. Now, for the across back, just use your eye, from the shoulder to come down some inches, like about 4 inches. You can get this correctly when you come down on the cap height. Okay, so from those points here to this point here is the across back. From here, that you come down from here to here is across back. This is across back because there are some measurements that you need across back. Across back is different from the shoulder measurement. For some persons, they may get the same figure, okay, but that does not mean that you measure it the same way. While for others, the difference could just be 1 inch. Now, the next one I want to talk about is across chest. Where is the chest? This is the chest area. So you want to measure across chest, you measure it. Always take note of this joining that is here. So you place your tape like this. this is across chest. Okay, now this is important, especially when you are making an off shoulder. Okay, you will need to take, you will need the across chest or the across back, and then for some you just need to take it round. You just take it round like this. Okay, when you are measuring for an off shoulder. Okay, now you take it round like this, you note the total, and then you mark the across chest, you subtract across chest, you subtract across back, then you will now know what will be used for the off shoulder sleeve. Okay, so that is one thing. Now another thing that also confuses people is the nipple to nipple. Now nipple to nipple is the same thing as a bust span, and it's simply from the distance from the tip of one breast to another. Now if someone is wearing a clothes, how do you now know the bust span? You simply just use the middle. Okay, like I'm wearing a dress, a boo top right now. You want to measure my bust span, just start from the middle. Okay, the middle of one breast to the middle of the other breast. That is the bust span. And then when we say bust point, where is the bust point? Bust point simply means from the shoulder to where the breast is the fullest. Okay, that is the bust point from the shoulder. So Akosa's bust point is 10 inches. And then when we say the under bust, you just simply take the tape underneath, where the breast stops, where the bust stops. This is your under bust. Okay, and then when you want to get the waistline is the part of the body that is the narrowest. That is the original waist. Okay, sorry if I want to use this to demonstrate. Sorry, Akosua. This part, the slimless part, that is the waistline, the slimless part of the body, where the body makes a curve. Okay, for some persons you may not be able to get it, maybe because of their body fat and so on, but usually it doesn't exceed 3 inches from the under bust. So let that be your guide. So shoulder to the bust point, shoulder to the under bust, shoulder to the waist. Okay, and another thing is that for most people it stops around their navel. Okay, their navel. So that should also be a guide. So that is the waist measurement. And then for the lower waist, the low waist, you have to come down as if you are coming down to the hip region. That is the low waist, from the belly button down, like 3 inches down. That is the low waist. For some persons, that is where they like to put their outfits. So you have the low waist, you have the regular waist, and we also have the high waist. The high waist is almost close to the under bust. So that is the high waist. So take note of that. Okay, and then how do we now locate the hip? Okay, that is another thing. How do we locate the hip? For someone that is hippie, curvy, it's very, very easy to get the hip. You just simply look at the fullest part of the bum area, and that will be the hip area. Okay, that will be the hip area. But what if the person does not have that curve for you to easily get? Now, once you have gotten the waist, once you have gotten the waistline, now from the waistline to the hip area, for some persons it is 8 inches, for some it is 9 inches, especially if the person is tall. Okay, so let that be your guide when you are trying to get the hip point. If not, if the person is hippie or curvy, just get the fullest part, and that is the hip area. Okay, so in taking measurement, we always say bust circumference. waist circumference, hip circumference. What do we mean by that as a beginner? Now, as a beginner, when we say circumference, circumference has to do with something that is continuous, like a circle. It goes round. So when they say you should take the bust circumference, they are telling you that you should place your tape from one point to another point like this to make sure that you complete the roundness. So this is bust circumference, and then this is waist circumference. Under bust circumference, directly under the bust, that is under bust circumference. And then the hip, this is hip circumference. So Akosa's hip is 40. Now, these circumferences, because of the way that we fold our fabrics, we usually divide by 4. Okay, some person will say, why must we divide by 4? Now, when you get your fabric, assuming this is the fabric, most times we fold it front and back. So when you fold it into 2, one part is for the front, the other part is for the back. And then when you fold again like this, you see that you now have 4 pieces. So that is why we usually divide our measurement by 4, okay, to get that complete circumference. But for the arm, the thigh, those ones we divide it by 2 because we are having 2 hands. Okay, so there's one hand here, there's one hand here. So what we simply do is just to take the round measurement and divide it by 2. Okay, because when you are cutting, you are going to be cutting on fold, and then you are going to be cutting the 2 together. The same applies to the thigh. When you are taking the thigh measurement, the knee measurement, the ankle measurement, we divide by 2 because we are having 2 separate legs. Okay, so that is why. If you have any question, you can ask me. Okay, Kate Okolo, hello, you are welcome to my live. Thank you so much for your support. So that is what I want to just quickly talk about today, measurements. So to recap, for those that came late, I've talked about the shoulder measurement, how to measure the shoulder. The shoulder measurement should start from one end of the journey here, comes to the nape, and then comes back. And then I've talked about the across back. So this is the across back. You see, Akosa's across back is 13.25, while her shoulder is 14. So you don't have to use the same measurement for across back and shoulder. And then I've also talked about the across chest. Across chest is before the bust, like this, across chest. Okay, so those are some of the things I just want to talk about today. If there's anything you want me to share in life like this, let me know. Okay, please, if someone wants to sew Igbo blouse, how to take the measurement of the Igbo blouse. Okay, someone wants to take, okay, the measurements that you will need for an Igbo blouse. If it's going to, Igbo blouse, from this part, for most of them is fitted, and then from the waist it flares out. So take the bust. First of all, you take your shoulder measurement, then take note of shoulder to the bust point, then shoulder to the under bust, shoulder to the waistline, and then the length of the blouse. So like their blouse to sit on the hip area. So for some it's 25 inches, some is 24. Now after you have taken shoulder to the bust, shoulder to the under bust, shoulder to the waist, and so on, those ones are known as the vertical measurements. The next thing is to take the horizontal measurement. The horizontal measurement is the one that goes round. So you now take the bust circumference. You take the bust circumference. You take the under bust. Very, very important, so that you can get a good fit for your blouse. And then you also take the waist circumference, and of course you take the hip circumference, so that you know how wide you should make the down part for, you know, it will flare out kind of towards the down area, okay, so that it can sit well on the hip. Please, what is the formula? What is the formula to get the shoulder to shoulder and across back and across front? If you can tell us, we will know. Thank you. Okay, for those that want to rely on formulas, okay, the across the shoulder measurement and the armhole depth, most times they are the same. Okay, so if, for example, your client is not around and your client sends you their measurement, because of course, if you want to work with you want to sew an outfit, you are going to make use of measurement. So if your client is not around for you to measure, they will send you their measurement. Now, if they're not sending their measurements and all of them are not complete, that is when you make use of formulas. If not, you have the person directly in front of you, it is better for you to measure. Now, if the person has sent you their measurements and you know the bust circumference, from the bust circumference you can get the armhole depth. Okay, for the bust, so get the armhole depth, you simply divide the bust circumference by 6 and then you add 1.5 inches to that. Okay, and whatever you get, that is half of the shoulder measurement. Okay, so if, for example, the bust circumference is 36 and you divide 36 by 6, you are going to be having 6, and then you add 1.5 to it. That will give you 7.5. Now, to get the shoulder measurement, you simply multiply that 7.5 by 2, okay, and that will give you 15. So the shoulder of that customer will be 15. Now, to that get the across back, just subtract 1 inch from it, okay, to get the across back. And sometimes too, the across back and the across front, sometimes you get the same figure, so you can also use it for it. Doka says, "Ma'am, can you use this measurement that you explained and make off shoulder with puff sleeve?" Yes. If you want to make an off shoulder, then you get the round. You will not be using the to be able to get the sleeve. You will use the full measurement, like okay. There's what we call round body. I didn't make mention of that. The round body circumference. Okay, so the round body for an off shoulder, you take the round body like this. You take the round body like this. For an off shoulder, that is how you take the round body. You include the shoulders to it because it's an off shoulder. That is how you take it. You take it like this. You take the round body, okay, and most times the hip is the same as the round body. Okay, so you take note of the round body, and then you also take note of the across back and across chest. You take it round like this. You take it round. You subtract this from the round body. Whatever you have, you divide by 2. That is what you are going to use for the sleeve area. That is how you're going to know the roundness of the sleeve. Okay, what I mean is this: for off shoulder, you need this roundness, that is from here to here like this. From here to here, you need this wideness to be able to get the sleeve, okay, for both sides. So that is why if you want to measure off shoulder. Many people, they used to make mistake. They forget to measure the round body, and instead they are using only the bust circumference. If you use only the bust circumference, you may not get it, okay, because the bust circumference will not help you to get the sleeve area. So for you to get everything, it has to be the round body, the full body. So you measure the full body like this for an off shoulder. You take note of that, and then you also take note of the round chest measurement, and then you subtract what the balance that you have. You divide it into 2. That will give you the wideness of the sleeve. I hope it is clear. So that is how you can make off shoulder. Shoulder slope. Okay, shoulder slope. When you are the armhole depth, when you want to take your armhole depth, okay, armhole depth is just from, is the basic formula say is the bust divided by 6 plus 1.5. When you want to mark it on your fabric, it is different. Okay, if you are marking it on the fabric, it is different. I wish I could just show you my board right now. If you are marking it on the fabric, let's say this is the starting line, and you now mark the shoulder. This is half of the shoulder here, half of the shoulder. Before you can take your armhole depth, then you have to mark the shoulder slope. You mark the shoulder slope first. Okay, you mark your shoulder slope first. So from this place that you mark, it is from there you now mark armhole depth. Okay, so armhole depth does not start from the shoulder. It is after you have marked the shoulder slope before the armhole depth will now start. I don't know if that is the question that you're asking. I hope I've been able to answer your question. All right, so this is where I'll be calling in today. If you have any more questions, you can ask. Before I forget, we now have channel membership. Okay, channel membership. You can register for that, and you will have videos specifically for members. The videos there is not for everybody. It's for only members. So you want to enjoy that privilege, be a member today. Okay, and also there are other picks that you can enjoy. So once you click on the channel, if you go to the top of my channel, if you click on the channel membership, join membership, it will bring out the perks that you are expected to benefit. Okay, then you can now know the levels that you should register for. And if today is your first time coming across this channel, you can also subscribe to this channel. Just subscribe and then click on the notification bell. Please support my channel by also sharing my videos. Share so that others can also get to learn. Thank you very, very much. For you that is a returning subscriber, I want to use this opportunity to say thank you. For you that have been engaging in my videos, I want to say thank you. You that have been leaving comments, I want to say thank you. You that have been giving me thumbs up, I want to say thank you. These things are really, really important to us because it helps the YouTube algorithm to push our videos. So please keep giving the like, keep commenting, keep sharing, and keep subscribing. Until next time, when I come your way again, I remain Joidala. Thank you. God bless you, Dorcas. God bless you, Kate, and every other person that logged on. Thank you. God bless. I'll see you again in another video. Maybe we'll be talking about calculations. Just let me know the calculations that you would like to know, and then we'll go live like this to discuss it. Thank you very much. Bye. Okay, I'll check your comment and respond to you. Thank you. I don't want this video to be too long. Thank you, Kate. I'll check and get back to you.